click the link in the description below to receive our free Building Mental Muscle newsletter, and for a limited time, get these 10 classic best-selling Law of Attraction books for free. We hope you enjoy this presentation. If so, please click the like button and click the subscribe button below to receive notification when we release new recordings.
Richard Hargreaves presents a deep dive podcast into Neville Goddard's highly acclaimed 5 Lessons Manifestation course.
Ever feel like you're capable of so much more? Like there's this untapped power inside you, just waiting to be unleashed.
We're about to dive into a concept that might just blow your mind. Consciousness is the ultimate creative force.
Yeah. Today we're taking a deep dive into the world of Neville Goddard,
A mid-20th century lecturer who had some pretty radical ideas about manifesting desires.
reshaping your reality even.
And influencing the world around you.
And get this, he said it all comes down to the power of your own thoughts.
We're going to unpack his idea that you are way more powerful than you think.
We're cracking open a series of 5 lectures by Goddard, and trust me, they are jam-packed with mind-bending concepts.
But don't worry, we'll break it all down in a way that's clear, actionable, and maybe even a little fun. What's fascinating about Goddard is that he didn't just pull these ideas out of thin air.
Right, he was tapping into, ancient wisdom
Often using biblical stories as metaphors.
to explain the mind's hidden potential.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole consciousness is king concept.
Consciousness is king. All right, so Goddard was adamant that consciousness is the only true reality.
Everything else, just a reflection of it.
Whoa. It's like the universe is a giant movie projector and your consciousness is the film.
Exactly. He uses the creation story from the Bible as a powerful example.
Okay, not as a literal event.
Right, but as this incredible metaphor for what our minds can do.
Remember Genesis 1.26:27? Let us make man in our image.
God creates in his image, which, if you're looking at it through Goddard's lens, suggests our minds have that same creative spark.
So our minds are also creating in their image.
Goddard wasn't focused on a deity out there somewhere, but on this creative power we all possess. He believed that whatever we truly believe deep down, becomes our reality.
Our assumptions, even subconscious ones, they harden into our personal truth. So it's like our beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. You're accidentally manifesting our own limitations.
Think of your subconscious mind like a loyal but slightly gullible friend. It doesn't judge your thoughts as right or wrong. It just takes them as instructions.
Oh, no.
So if you're constantly thinking, I'll never get that promotion, or I'm just not good with money.
Your subconscious is like, okay, if you say so.
If you say so. And it starts arranging things to match that belief.
Whoa. That's kind of empowering.
Right.
But also a little terrifying.
It's a lot of pressure.
Talk about pressure. I've totally been guilty of this, by the way. I used to be so scared of public speaking. I had it in my head that I wasn't cut out for it. And guess what? I kept messing up presentations. It wasn't until I shifted that belief that things started to change.
That's incredibly relatable.
Yeah.
We've all been there, right? The good news is, understanding this concept gives you a huge amount of power. You're not stuck with your old limiting beliefs. By consciously choosing different thoughts, you can literally change your reality. It's about becoming the architect of your own experience.
Okay, but how do we do that? How do you go from feeling stuck in those negative thought patterns to actually believing in your own potential?
Well, Goddard had some very specific techniques for that.
And trust me, they're nothing like what you'd expect. So we've established that our beliefs shape our reality.
But how do we actually go about changing those deep-seated beliefs?
Right. Especially the ones that have been holding us back.
Well, Goddard had a surprising answer. Prayer.
Prayer.
Now, before you think we're about to launch into a sermon, remember that Goddard wasn't talking about prayer in the traditional sense.
Okay.
He wasn't focused on asking an external deity for favors.
So it's more like mental rewiring.
Exactly.
Okay.
Goddard believed that prayer, in its purest form, is about focused imagination. It's about consciously directing the power of your subconscious mind to create the reality you desire.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So how does this focused imagination work in practice? Did he have specific techniques or?
Absolutely. Yeah. Goddard laid out a method that sounds incredibly simple, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for us.
The first step is to get crystal clear on your desire. Don't be vague. Instead of wishing for more money, specify what that looks like. Imagine yourself getting a promotion with a specific salary, closing a major business deal, Or maybe even finding a hidden treasure.
So specificity is key.
Yes.
Got it. What's next?
Next, you're going to create a scene in your mind. A single, sensory-rich event that would occur if your desire were already fulfilled.
Okay, so if my desire is to be a successful artist, I might imagine myself standing in a packed gallery, people admiring my work, maybe even a collector offering me a ridiculous amount of money for a painting.
Exactly. And don't just picture it. Engage all your senses.
Okay.
What do you see? What do you hear? Can you smell the paint? Feel the texture of the canvas?
Okay, so you've got your vivid desire, your sensory-rich scene. What's step 3?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Goddard emphasized the importance of entering a drowsy, relaxed state.
Okay.
Not quite asleep, but not fully awake either. He called it a state of attentive without effort.
Okay.
Kind of like that magical space between wakefulness and sleep, where your mind is still active, but your body is relaxed.
Oh, I know that state. It's like when you're just drifting off and your thoughts start to wander.
Exactly. And there's a scientific reason why this state is so powerful. It's called the hypnagogic state.
The what?
The hypnagogic state.
Okay.
And studies have shown that our brainwave activity shifts dramatically during this time. We're more receptive to suggestion, and our subconscious mind becomes more accessible.
So it's like our subconscious is more willing to download new beliefs and instructions in that state.
Precisely. Think of it like this. In our normal waking state, our conscious mind is like a gatekeeper, filtering information, deciding what gets through to the subconscious.
Yeah.
But in the hypnagogic state, that gatekeeper takes a break.
Oh.
It's the perfect time to slip past the conscious mind and plant those seeds of desire directly into the fertile ground of the subconscious.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So we've set the scene, created a vivid sensory experience, and we've gotten ourselves into this relaxed, receptive state. What's the final step?
This is where you bring it all together.
Yeah.
In that drowsy state, you mentally live your predetermined scene as if it's happening right now, with full emotion, vivid detail.
Okay.
You're not just picturing it, you're feeling it, experiencing it with your entire being.
And how long do you do this for?
Goddard didn't put a time limit on it. He emphasized the importance of feeling the reality of the scene, really immersing yourself in it until you feel a sense of completion.
So no need to set a timer, just go with the flow.
Exactly. Trust your intuition.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if you experience some unusual physical sensations during this process.
Okay.
Goddard often described feeling a dryness in the mouth, increased activity in the kidneys, even seeing a blue light.
Wait, a blue light. That's weirdly specific.
It sounds strange. But Goddard believed these sensations were simply the physical body reacting to the intense mental activity and concentration involved in this type of, deep prayer.
Like a physical manifestation of the mental shift that's happening.
You got it. You're essentially reprogramming your subconscious mind by feeding it these powerful, sensory-rich impressions of your desires as already fulfilled.
Okay, I have to admit this is all starting to sound a little less woo-woo-woo, and a lot more practical than I expected. But how does this all tie back to Goddard's fascination with the Bible? I mean, we haven't even cracked open a scripture yet.
But that's where Goddard's approach gets really interesting. He had this unconventional way of looking at the Bible, seeing these stories not as historical events, but as powerful metaphors for inner transformation.
Okay.
For example, the story of Barabbas and Jesus from the Gospel of Matthew.
Okay.
Now remember, we're not talking about historical figures here, but states of consciousness.
Okay. So who's who in this metaphorical showdown?
Barabbas, the prisoner who's set free, represents those limiting beliefs, those negative thought patterns that keep us trapped in a cycle of unfulfilling experiences. Jesus, in this allegorical interpretation, represents our desired state, the person we long to be, free from those limitations.
So to pass over, as in Passover, is to shift from that limited state of consciousness, symbolized by Barabbas, to a higher state of consciousness, symbolized by Jesus. I feel like I'm starting to get this.
You're catching on quickly. It's about choosing to release those old limiting beliefs and embracing a new, empowering self-concept. It's about recognizing that we have the power within ourselves to choose who we want to be and what we want to experience.
I love how Goddard finds these hidden layers of meaning in stories that most people think they already know. Okay, give me another one. What other biblical metaphors did he use to illustrate this idea of inner transformation?
All right, how about the story of Joshua and the Battle of Jericho from the book of Joshua? Remember how the Israelites marched around the city walls, blowing trumpets for 7 days, and on the 7th day, the walls came tumbling down?
Yeah. Talk about a power move. But there's got to be more to it than that, right?
Definitely. Goddard connected the blowing of the trumpets 7 times to the idea of achieving a state of mental stillness, a deep inner silence. He believed that this state of inner quiet is where manifestation happens effortlessly.
So it's not about literal trumpets and crumbling walls, but about quieting the mind, that inner chatter that can sometimes drown out our desires.
Exactly. It's in that state of deep inner stillness, that space of pure potentiality, that we are most aligned with the creative power of the universe, with our own divine nature.
It's about surrendering to the process, trusting that the universe has your back, which, let's be honest, can be really hard when you're so focused on making things happen.
It's a paradox, isn't it? The more we chase after something, the more we seem to push it away. It's like trying to force a flower to bloom. You can't just will it to open.
Right.
But when you create the right conditions, good soil, sunlight, water, it blooms effortlessly, naturally.
That's what Goddard called the law of reverse effort.
Right. Exactly. And it applies to so much more than just manifesting material desires. It's about understanding that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is surrender to the process, trust your intuition, and allow things to unfold naturally.
So how do we actually do that? How do we shift from a place of forcing to a place of allowing? Where does the story of the impotent man at the pool of Bethesda come in? He was waiting for a miracle. Right. Yeah, he was waiting for a miracle to just magically fix him.
He was looking for that external miracle at the pool of Bethesda, hoping to be the first one in the water when it's stirred by an angel.
Right.
But when Jesus encountered him, he kind of challenged that way of thinking. He said, "Rise, take up your bed and walk."
Basically told him to stop waiting for something external to change his reality. You have the power to heal yourself.
Precisely. This story, it perfectly illustrates Goddard's point. The only thing we truly need to change is ourselves. The outer world. It's just a reflection of our inner world.
It's so easy to get caught up in that, though. Thinking if only I had that, or if only this situation was different, then I'd be happy, then I'd be successful. But Goddard's saying we've got it all backwards.
It's like we're looking in a mirror trying to change the reflection instead of changing what's actually being reflected.
Wow.
Goddard's message is change your inner world. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your self-image, and the outer world will have no choice but to reflect that transformation.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. The idea of consciousness as the ultimate creative force, using our imagination to reshape our beliefs, understanding the power of the subconscious mind. It's all about taking control of our inner reality. But how do we bridge that gap between the life we're living now and the life we truly desire?
That's a million-dollar question, isn't it? And you know what Goddard would say? It all boils down to this: belief.
Belief.
It's about cultivating an unshakable inner knowing that what you desire is already yours, even if it hasn't manifested in the physical world yet.
It's about embodying the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Exactly. It's like stepping into a role you are destined to play. You might not know all the lines yet, you might not have the costume on, but deep down, you know you are that character.
Oh, I love that analogy. It's about shifting from a place of lack and need to a place of knowing and already having. But that's easier said than done, right? How can we actually cultivate that level of unwavering belief, especially when life, keeps throwing curveballs our way?
It's a practice, a conscious choice we make every single day. It's about becoming aware of your thoughts, your beliefs, recognizing which ones are serving you, which ones are holding you back.
Right.
It's about weeding out the limiting beliefs and nurturing the ones that align with the reality you want to create.
It's about becoming the gardener of your own mind.
Precisely. And it's not about denying the challenges or difficulties of life. It's about choosing how you respond to them. Do you let them define you, limit you, hold you back? Or do you use them as opportunities to learn, to grow, and to step more fully into your power?
So where do we go from here? What would Goddard tell us to do with all this newfound knowledge?
I think he'd tell us to stop waiting for permission, to live the life we truly desire, to stop giving our power away to external circumstances or limiting beliefs.
To remember that we have the power within us, right here, right now, to create the reality we want to experience.
Exactly. It's about embracing the truth of who we really are. Powerful creators, capable of shaping our own reality.
Wow. What a powerful deep dive into the work of Neville Goddard. If there's one thing we hope you take away from this, it's that you are more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
So go out there and create the life of your dreams. We'll be right here rooting for you every step of the way.
If this deep dive podcast exploring Neville Goddard's highly acclaimed 5 Lessons Manifestation course has piqued your curiosity and interest, and you'd like to hear the actual complete lessons, click the image now showing to be taken to the first lesson. The lessons are really powerful, and each one goes for around an hour, so set aside some dedicated time to get the most out of them. It could well be the best thing you could do to start living the life of your dreams.